I'm gonna call the meeting of the Public Safety Commission to order at 6:03. And I'm gonna make my chairperson statement. This meeting is being recorded by the Public Safety Commission. If any other person present or are recording or anyone online, please notify the chair now. So is anybody recording?
Yeah. I'm Anthony Camilleri, the Greenfield Recorder.
You for recorder, okay. Anybody online? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna take roll call. Commissioner Benoit.
Not present.
Not present, absent. Commissioner Barger. Here. Commissioner Muscatello.
Here.
Commissioner Burge.
Here.
Commissioner Dixon.
Present.
Commissioner Jarvis, I'm here. We have a quorum. So we are able to proceed. Okay, so we're gonna do public comment. Anybody online want to make public comment? Please just speak up or raise your hand. I only see one person, Tommy.
Muted, so.
Very good. Anybody in the room want to do public comment? Nope. Seeing none, we will move on to introduction. So we're going to move on to the introduction of the new police department sergeant lieutenant for promotion and recommendations.
So with
Chief,
that,
come on forward.
so with that, Corey Green is actually out of the country. So I worked it out with Kathy that he will set up an appointment with her to do this. We kind of wanted to make things a little bit more formal, although not super. Historically, we've done things at various places. Terrazzo once, and Emily hates that, so she hates this. So we're gonna do it here. What we'll do is we'll have the clerk swear her in.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep, so why don't we do a little.
Yep, scratch that. So first, we're gonna recommend to you.
Then we'll do our recommendation.
So we gotta get those two first, yeah. So what we are recommending, as you know, we did a process last year for sergeants. We actually did a process for sergeants and lieutenants, but they expire at different intervals.
Mhm.
So the lieutenant, we needed to do a new process for. We were able to make a promotion off sergeant off of the past list because it hadn't yet been a year. So Corey Green, who was a detective for us, has been sitting in the acting provisional capacity for the last few months. He agreed to do that. So he also placed the highest on that last selection process. He actually opted out last time for family reasons, and Brandon LeGoy was promoted. So at this point, he still sat at the top of the list. So he was once again asked, he accepted. So our recommendation for the permanent sergeant promotion is Corey Green.
Okay, we'll handle them one at a time, if you don't
Very
mind,
good.
chief.
Yep.
That way
Yep.
we won't keep it. So, I guess we'll ask you any questions that we have on Corey, if anybody has any questions for the chief about Corey.
So just the comment.
Questions or comments?
A comment, okay. So we on the first round, I believe we already approved Corey for the position. And then after the approval and he was offered the job, he declined for family reasons. So we already approved him once. We can approve him again.
We have
which
to
is fine.
approve them again.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, just for folks, because I know folks might have not been here for the vote, but he was approved
Yeah.
at one time.
Right, but you have a new
Yes.
commission.
Yes,
so you
that's
have
what
a
I mean,
commissioner,
yes.
So we
Yes.
need to
Yep.
re-recommend.
Yep.
So
I can feel Corey's got probably close to 20 years of law enforcement experience. He started his career, to my knowledge, in Irving. At which point in Irving, he made it up to the rank of sergeant, although there's 3-4 officers. He worked part-time for Montague and transitioned over to us probably around 15 years ago, maybe. He served in various capacities, most recently detective, and well, even more recently, provisional sergeant. He has, because we lost another detective and we were down to one, he's actually been covering in that capacity as a detective sergeant. So he's done very well. He's definitely sort of what you would assume is a natural leader. People follow him. They trust him. And they absolutely have confidence in his ability to lead them. So with all that being said, coupled with the fact that he scored the highest on our process, he's who we're recommending for the sergeant position.
Very good. I don't think we just take a vote, if
I think you do a motion and
a motion and then a vote, yep. So do I have a motion?
a motion. Second,
Seconds. Yep, thank you, Maria.
any comments or questions, I guess?
Yep, comments or questions from commissioners? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention, okay. 3. I'm just doing my notes. So I can give the recommendation to the mayor. Very good, we'll take and tackle the lieutenant.
Yeah, so Emily has been with us, how long in?
Come on up, Emily.
Come on.
Yeah.
I just exceeded my 13th year with the Greenfield Police Department.
Em started, like most of us, as a patrolman, was promoted to sergeant, worked primarily on the overnight shift, which was her shift of choice, and was then asked to be provisional lieutenant. After we had a loss of a lieutenant there, where Lieutenant Haskins left for Montague. Emily is an extremely strong, detail-oriented accomplisher of tasks, like no other. So I'm extremely overwhelmingly proud to recommend Emily as our next permanent lieutenant. It will be Greenfield's first female permanent lieutenant in Greenfield, but I want to be very clear, that is not why she's being recommended. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that her completed work is quite simply amazing. And I want to joke with her, but it's true. So Emily is one that I really truly believe if I hand her a task, I have all the faith in the world that it's going to come back to me very well done. That showed, so that shined through in our promotional process. And Emily's presentation, although we had technical difficulties, we couldn't get the PowerPoint working. She still rose above those who could even do that. Again, detail oriented. The presentation was smooth, clean, clear. The handouts were good. The oral board portion, very well done. We've had an opportunity to vet her for the last several months as a provisional lieutenant, and she's just Johnny on the spot. So I'm super confident, and I'm very excited about being able to promote our first female to a permanent lieutenant position, Emily Rao.
Thank you.
Primarily Rao Kanash, sorry. I keep.
It's fine.
Questions, comments?
I have a comment.
Comments? There you go.
I had the pleasure of sitting at her interview and her presentation, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. Everyone did a very good job, but there was no doubt in my mind that hers shone. And I'm very proud that you became the first woman lieutenant. And I wish you following my steps on my steps. Yeah, don't go too far. No, but really, from the bottom of my heart, I am very proud of you. I was so happy to find out that you were chosen.
Appreciate everybody that took part in it and participated and got to come to the interviews and reviewed the process and got to speak with all the candidates. I really appreciate everybody's involvement.
Anybody else?
So this, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I wasn't present for this piece of it, but having worked with you on a few things since the fall, I agree. I think everything that you do with, a lot of detail and a lot of care, and yeah, I'm excited. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So this
interview process, which I participated in the grading, and Commissioner Burge and Barbara were there to witness it. Was very interesting. We gave them a scenario that could have been quite a real life scenario. It wasn't, a made up one. And it was an important one because the scenario was not only to make sure that Greenfield and its residents would be protected, but also the officers working this particular scenario and outside enforcement were protected. So it was very touchy. And, we expected, we had, you had to, there was certain people, including myself, assigned to positions, and I was assigned to a position, and I made it challenging. I changed it up every couple days until the chief called me up on the last day and said, enough. But that's me.
I was ready for it.
But, it was proof to me that when I sat and looked at the, your presentations, that you were thoughtful with your responses back. You were very professional. And you owned what you said and what you did. And when you were up presenting, you presented very well. And your goal was to ensure really the safety of residents of Greenfield. And it was very detailed. And that really was important to me because, it wasn't just your average everyday assignments. It was pretty important. And I really think you did a stellar job at proving that you could handle not only that assignment, but now the position of lieutenant. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Some things to note just in closing for her, unless you have more to say, is that,
No, I think I do.
go ahead.
Doesn't even let the chair speak. I know he's trying to force me. I'm just trying to get out of here, I tell you. Emily, all I want to say is congratulations to you. Nothing's worse than be called a provisional because you are doing the job as a full-time lieutenant. So I wish they would strike calling people provisional because you are doing the job and you did a job, you did a fine job at it. So congratulations. I'm sure you're going to continue to do a fine job. And maybe someday we'll get rid of everybody calling people provisional. We'll just give them the rank. So
It's a good point. You're the only one being assessed like every day.
Exactly.
We talked about that ahead of time.
exactly. Nothing.
She didn't go into that without that, like out of fairness, we talked to them. You gotta understand, I've done it several times.
Yeah. So
And you're really the only one under the microscope, right? No one else is being graded and assessed on a daily basis.
so
But
congratulations.
what Emily does is she completes for us our 4-person command staff. And I don't make any decisions alone unless there's some chaotic scene happening or unfolding. We run it by democracy. We sit together often. And Emily is good at challenging. So, and we need that. Like I said, I don't want to be right all the time. I'm not right all the time. So there have been issues, important issues, departmental level stuff that we've discussed. And she's not afraid to give her 2 cents. And that was word one. Like, Emily, you got to come at us, right? We sit in this room and we're all on the same. What we want to do is do the best job for Greenfield, right? So it's not just going to be my ideas. It's not just going to be the deputy chief's ideas or the other lieutenant's ideas. She will challenge. We'll challenge her. She's coming around. She's being fun now, right? A little levity.
You told me.
Well, we like to joke around a little bit at work, and she's coming around and we're good, and she'll watch my dog from time to
It's a
time,
good
so that's
team.
good too. But
Good team.
it really is an important sort of quad that we have at the top, trying to make these decisions on the best interests of all the department and the whole town. And so far, it's been smooth. It's been smooth as glass. I think we made some good choices. We've come up with some good plans, formulating a lot of good things in good direction. So, and Emily's right there. What people don't know on the lieutenant's level is outside a potential collective bargaining agreement, there's a lot of expectations that I'm sure she's aware of now on a lieutenant's level. Not a single complaint. Not a single complaint. And I will be getting emails on Sundays and evenings, and there's never a stopping time. So she merged into this position seamlessly. So we're marching on, we have a lot to
We're
do
learning.
and we're gonna do it. So Emily's gonna be in charge of our accreditation and moving to new softwares and it's a lot of work. Unbeknownst to many, I talk about this daily at the police department. Everybody thinks while they're doing it, their job is probably the busiest thing in the world. Until then, you take another one. And I know for a fact that the lieutenant's position, particularly the admin lieutenant, it's a task heavy job. There's a lot to do. So learning different delegation tactics and things of that nature is what we'll continue to work on, so we can do more with less if possible or if needed. So I think we really are cranking out on all cylinders right now, running pretty good, so.
Deputy, you have anything to say?
I agree with everything they're saying.
There you go. Not to put you on the spot, Deputy, but, you know.
Oh, no, I stole his speech. Pretty much.
And I'd like to add a comment.
Sure, go ahead.
One of the things that impressed me about Emily is the fact that all her colleagues that I question that, you know, how's she doing, you know, whatever, has high respect for her. That's, I want you to know, you know, that
Should talk to different people.
just everybody, but anyway, I want you to know that.
Thank you. I appreciate hearing that.
So, on to you,
Okay, very
on
good.
to you.
Oh, we're ready to take a vote?
I make a motion.
Make a motion, please.
Second,
What is your motion?
I
Yeah.
motion that we vote on the promotion of Emily Raul Kanash to
I
lieutenant.
second the motion.
Thank you. Okay, so all those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? Abstentions, well, there wasn't any because we're five in favor, so congratulations.
So with that being said, we're gonna go out over a little bit and we're gonna have the clerk swear her in front
Yes, I
of
think
here. And you can still formally pass that on, but we'll get that out of the way.
So I have one request, because this is historical for Greenfield. The commission and you three are gonna stand up here and we're gonna have a picture taken, because that's what I would like to see. All right? All right.
Well, we're proud.
Go for the swearing in first.
Can you take the picture for us?
Can we swear?
Absolutely. Unless Anthony wants to do it
For my record, we can all-
for your records with your phone. Absolutely.
But Anthony can take a picture too.
So we're gonna do it, where's the flag?
You want to be in the background of her swearing in?
No,
No,
it's okay, just
Just pictures after.
okay.
Mind if we get a little close
Do
together?
your swearing in. Yeah, right here.
First, Scott's gonna tell you where to
We're
stand on the
gonna
X.
stare her down.
I'm gonna swear at you.
Okay, wouldn't be the first.
Emily, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Emily Raul Kanash,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially,
and to the best of my abilities
and to the best of my abilities,
perform the duties of the office
perform the duties of the office
of Lieutenant of the Greenfield Police Department
of Lieutenant of the Greenfield Police Department
in accordance with the ordinances
in accordance with the ordinances
and the charter
and the charter
of the City of Greenfield,
of the City of Greenfield,
the Constitution
the Constitution
and general laws of the Commonwealth,
and general laws of the Commonwealth,
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the United
of
States.
the United States.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was easy and painless, right?
That's because the way Kathy does it. She's done this enough to give you a little.
We're gonna do a photo.
Thank you.
You'll remember.
Appreciate it. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll stand right in front.
Okay,
She can be in the middle.
we're pausing
Come on, you.
off
You
of
too.
agenda for a second.
Get up here.
Come on, girlfriend.
Right here.
The historic photo.
Come on, get in here.
Okay, so I need a phone.
Just in time. It's photo time.
Photo time.
You know, we're all set?
Yeah.
We're all
Just take
set?
it on names. and then
Anybody care if it's
we got-
landscape or
we have
portrait?
Come on, close in, move
As long
in.
as you make me
Oh,
look
we're
skinny.
above-
You can come in, move in. You're in here.
My hands on the.
That's right.
Everybody?
Yep, you're good. I'm just gonna take a couple with each phone. Oop, not
St.
drawing.
Patrick's Day 2026, our first female lieutenant made. Remember that day.
Oh, yeah, I spun that
Some
sucker
Guinness
around.
afterwards. Chair's treat.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Don't
Thank you
know
for your
who
time.
this is.
I remember last year I was talking and.
I wanted to hang in here until then.
Oh, thank you for coming.
She spent more time having to contain herself.
I guess all to the end.
I appreciate
It was a battle.
Of course.
Erin was calling, she's like, I see you.
I know. So much to say.
This
is the same one. No, it's not.
How back.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Do you have maybe a moment for a quick phone call tomorrow?
She sure does, yes.
Yes, tomorrow's fine.
What time would be best to give the call?
Yeah,
my phone again.
Ten?
Has your number now.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you for
Congrats
coming
again.
out.
Oh,
Appreciate
my
it.
God.
Yes, I.
Signatures. There are three that are exactly the same thing.
All right.
Um,
Reference, because he's the new director of academics at the high school, according to a phone call I got today.
That's awesome. I'm good with it. Whoever calls.
So I will send one to HR and one to the mayor's office.
Oh, yeah, 'cause we had
One
for sure.
yourself.
Yeah, it was.
But I made it just in time.
Yeah, so we're still recording, everybody. So everybody knows.
Thanks, Emily.
Hi,
You're a good
everybody.
sport.
Bye.
Okay,
Okay, so we're gonna continue on, but I have a couple announcements I want to make before we continue. I just, for the record, I forgot Commissioner Brack, who is not here, so for the record, he is absent. I just want to, for the record, say that because I didn't write them down. I know if I don't write people down, I'm gonna forget them. So before we start the budgets, I just want people, I want commissioners, but I also want the public to understand that we're reviewing a budget that may not be the final budget as with any budget, so it goes to the city council and gets voted on. And even budgets change up to sometimes the last moment before they get changed, just because of things happen with the state, things happen with the city. And so we don't know what kind of mess we'll be in until everybody votes on the budget. And then even then, it can be amended at some point because the cherry sheets come back less than what they told the city they were going to, and they have to be readjusted. So I just want everybody to kind of understand the process, and the people in the public that understand that are watching the process, that things that could happen down the road. And with that, I'll let the chief present his budget, then we'll do questions to the chief. What people have in comments, okay?
So with no objection, we'll start with dispatch,
Very good.
smaller. Dispatch, just to give a little history of dispatch, we started civilian dispatching before I started in 98. But it was a dispatcher here and there, right, for just police. Through the late 90s, early 2000s, we transitioned into fully civilians, so full civilian operations. After which, once underway and once up at the new building, we took out new building 30 years ago, but they unionized and they're in their own department. So it's close to probably a quarter century. They've been a union department, and what any municipality who has a PSAP machine, so a PSAP machine is a public safety answering point. That's your 911. Okay, so we have 3 911 stations in Greenfield in that building, right? You've seen them today. You know what they are now. They went from an old blue box that made all kinds of weird noises and it was strange to us old timers to now it's just a computer software. But we receive, because we are a PSAP, we receive pretty significant grants from the 911 department, which really helps our operations. So to put that in perspective, we'll start with the dispatch budget. Did you hand them the spreadsheets too? You give them these?
No. This is what I had for those.
Did you get spreadsheets?
Unless it's in their packet.
one is,
In the packet? If not, then that's all I got.
So if I can find it in here. So at any rate, when we have a dispatcher, if you're looking at the top lines over here where you're not gonna understand the stuff, but it says at the top, dispatch salary and wages. You'll see there's a dispatch supervisor. And you'll see that I account for this grant. So this is called the support and incentive grant. So the city is not paying the 9741, right? So that grant, I take 11 from that grant, and that drops that obligation of the city down to 79,741. And if you walk through that, you'll see that in every single line, every single FTE is accounted for at $11,000 per. Okay, and that's 11 people. There's a little bit more than that, not much, but $121,000 is taken off our shoulders. So that's why you'll see a little bit of difference in numbers there. If you go straight across the top, you'll see that the increase is 6.09 in salary and wages. Things to keep in mind is, to my knowledge, having sat in on the negotiations with dispatch and with patrol and with the supervisors, all bargaining units got 3%, 3%, 3%. And now we're living with 3%, 3%, 3%. So there's going to be built-in increases in that, and understand that when an increase like that happens, and I know I'm sort of preaching to the choir, but I'm saying more for public, is other things are affected in that 3% raise. It's not just the salary line. So overtime rates are higher. Vacation is more expensive. Any of those things are more. Longevity for those who get it is more money. So all of that stuff is affected indirectly by that increase. So a 6% increase, one might ask, I'm only saying it because one might ask, well, they only got a 3% COLA cost of living. Why is it that it's 6? Well, because there's other things. It compounds and things are added to. So the blue stuff that you're looking at right here is Munis, right? Munis is gospel for us, right? So this is the one the mayor will say, this is the one we live by. We also keep another spreadsheet locally, right? So in-house, Judy and all of us, the command staff, will monitor this almost on a daily basis, particularly myself and the deputy chief, to make sure we're running within our numbers, and I'll explain that as we go, okay? If they don't have this, it's gonna be kind of tough. I thought I brought enough for everybody.
You know, this.
So these are all single pages, another number too. Yeah, let's.
I'll get a
You
copy.
have other dispatch ones?
I know this is just,
Yeah, this is
There's
patrol.
nothing to add.
Maria has one?
These were
That's
ones
the old
that,
ones.
Is that,
It was one-
8 of them today.
that was like a picture that Ed had,
Printed 8.
but I don't know.
That's PD.
Yeah.
did he send you the attachments
I said them before, but I literally printed new ones out today that you guys would need to see.
on your phone?
So I'll show what's going on here. The stuff in red, I'll just kind of walk you through it. I printed I don't know where, but you'll see there's items currently in the red.
I'm not sure what.
So
No, it's some different.
don't worry about parking, this is dispatch down here. So we had spent an extra 28,000 over what was budgeted for part-timers.
Yeah. Not
There were
the,
12 over in, I don't know what line that is, training. So these items right here, what I'm just asking that you focus on is this bottom number. Okay, so mathematically speaking, right now, we're 75% through the year. Right, so we're 3/4 just about through the year. At the end of March, we're 3/4 through it. So all told, we need to have at least 25% of our funding left. We're at 33 right now. So what that shows is a level of responsibility to the budget is we have wiggle room right now.
I was gonna take a photo.
That'll work.
Yeah.
So one thing also is if you see an increase in our current presentation in Munis, it's because I have to do a responsible request. So there are a couple areas there where we're over. Naturally, I have to say, well, we got to add something. I can't put together a budget that's going to go in the red, like without question. So another thing to notice is in the dispatch budget, Historically, it was always salary and wages. They have equipment replacement stuff, which is like their clothing allowance stuff, very little clothing allowance money. So since dispatch has become a thing, we have sort of enveloped them and have footed the bill for everything required of that dispatch center. They serve ourselves, they serve fire, and this isn't being petty, this is being, we're gonna have to pinch pennies, so we gotta understand where money's going, what it's going for. Dispatch uses probably more things like toner cartridges, paper. They have computer repairs, they have stuff that they need fixed and maintained and serviced, etc. Every year since its inception, that has come out of the police department budget. Well, you're gonna see the police department is in the red. My proposal to the city is we should be tracking the expenses of dispatch through the dispatch budget, right? So gone are the days, in my opinion, that whenever the dispatch department needs something, they're going to the police department to buy it, right? Because those things are becoming extraordinarily expensive and we have our own obligations to those things. So I added, which again, if you see at the bottom, the increase is now 9.53%. This is on a relatively smaller budget. So I added things to try to cover where our overage is right now. It's office equipment or something. Right. On the projector. Okay, yeah. So if you look at office supplies, I added a $5,000 line there. Equipment replacement, I added $5,000 line to that. And really that's about it. I didn't really change anything other than that. I added $10,000 to the dispatch pool so that they can replace their toner cartridges, their printers, all that stuff. And that is a reasonable amount of money, honestly, considering the volume that dispatch center, like you're saying, for our purposes, they're over 40,000 calls a year. They take in 1 million calls over a phone. They're processing LTCs, FIDs, they're at the window all the time. I don't know how much you saw people coming in today, but their job is far more than just sending people in assets to calls. They have on a daily basis, I'm leaving a raffle permit for them. They'll come in and they'll hand it off, right? So there's an entire litany of things that dispatch does behind the scenes that we should not continue to overlook, but it also comes at a cost. There's fees to that. So you'll see that the increase, that extra $10,000 is very much needed in dispatch. Other than that, I took into account, I actually added more to the grant, like taking advantage of that grant more. Dispatchers, all their training, including travel and everything, is paid for by the state through another 911 grant called the training. So you have the support incentive, which gives us about 130, and you have the training grant, which is they approve whatever. So they have to do 40 hours of in-service every year. Every bit of that is paid for through the 911 department. So it's good because we don't really have to be too particular about it. They can take the training, and some of it's pretty interesting. Some that they branched out into our critical incident training. They've gone into all that. They go to train the trainer, training our new dispatchers training. There's a whole volume of different trainings, and we never have to sweat it because it's always paid for, and not on the taxpayer's dime here. So there is an increase. The ultimate increase right now sits at about 9.5 because we added that 10,000 to supplies. And because of the raises. Any questions on that?
Questions, comments?
You said that the wages were more than a 3% increase because that was accounting for like all of the other things that scaled with wages.
What? I'm sorry?
Like it was accounting for like holiday and overtime and all the things that scaled with the 3%.
Yeah, well, in addition to that, we start our next year's budget prior to the start of a year, right? So we don't know. When they were in the negotiating year, we have to make projections. Like where are they, what's the mayor gonna give them, right? So you'll see 6% salary there. It's because the last time we finished the budget was this time of year last year. Their pay went up in July of 2025. That's 3. It's gonna go up again now in July of 2026. That's why you're noticing it's a 6% increase in that one line. Because we're taking into account those 2 raises because we settle our budgets prior. So it's a 6% increase. And then yes, everything triggers from that number. So holiday pay is gonna be more. Basically what they do is they'll divide their weekly salary by, 8 or whatever and pay them for a day. So when their pay goes up, that goes up. Overtime goes up. All that stuff goes up. FLSA, the time they put away has to be set aside. So not many, but a few have longevity. So that's a percentage based on your base salary. So that goes up too. So all these little things kick up.
Okay, I guess in the budget in Munis, the overtime, longevity, holiday, all of those are separate line items.
Yep.
They're scaling by like different amounts.
Mhm.
So the 6% really is just accounting for 2 years of salary increase.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Now that we have 10 dispatchers, my impression is that we're going to go back to having a relief dispatcher. So we would have the 2 like on the shifts and then just someone that floats that would be able to cover for overtime and like sick time and stuff like that. That feels like we're pulling a lot of money out of overtime and like part-time into the salary piece. Is that accounted for in this budget? Like the 60K in overtime, that's only because we were down so many dispatchers this year, right?
Yeah, and again, from my perspective, I left it alone, although there was another increase if you notice in there. So I upped the part-time wages to 40 because we're in the red on part-time wages right now. I think, do you have the dispatch one right there? I don't.
28, we're at,
28
it's
change.
28%.
Over, right?
Over.
It's 28 over.
Yeah.
So I increased that. I did leave overtime alone, things to consider. So I don't, where are we at with overtime right now on the sheet? I think we're over on overtime as well.
Yeah, you're 12,411 change.
So if you put them 2 together, I kept overtime where it is because rates are going up. And I had to add to that part-time. So we're still using part-times. We used them more than we assumed we were going to, I guess. So we're using per diems a lot, which yes, you would like to think would mitigate overtime, but $60,000 in overtime for the operation is not really, it's not huge. It's an expected cost. That particular operation is a little strange, like on the police side, and I'm assuming on fire side, not speaking for them, but there's a cluster of people, right? You have a group of people working. Dispatch has 2 and always just 2. So what happens is, and again, this is why we're really thankful of the grants. We've never gone over on our dispatch budget because of these grants. If someone is out sick or takes a day off, it is overtime, almost 90% of the time. Cindy on salary will do what she can. She's mitigated a lot of it to as much extent possible. She's still got to manage the place and she's got a lot of admin stuff she has to do. She also works to get those per diems in there to cover it so that it's not overtime. But dispatchers, like other collective bargaining units, have rights of first refusal as well that we have to acknowledge. So there's time we can't just put a part-timer or Cindy in there. We have to give it to a full-timer on overtime. So, and that's all collective bargaining.
My impression is that there's going to be the 2 dispatchers working shifts, but then there will be a 3rd overlapping dispatcher who can then move to cover, and that wouldn't be overtime. Which I think this is like it's not a new thing, but it hasn't been in place because we've been down so many dispatchers.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not 100% sure what the overtime would go down to because it sounds like it was 60 last year. But when I hear that, it makes me think that the wages should be higher and that this part-time and overtime should be lower with all of the stuff accounted for, because this is all in the union contracts with additional
The
shift.
wages are the entire staff and their predicted salaries, which we can predict pretty well. So it takes into account, we don't need any more money on the salary side is what I'm saying. And that line takes into account that person, that 11, and Cindy, it takes into account all of them. And then, like I said, I actually put the grant towards them at $11,000 a piece. So it shaved that money down a little bit with that as well. But so I think now getting your point, we don't need any more in there. They'll have that salary because the other line items will be the additional expenses, right? So if that floater isn't available and we need an overtime, it comes out of that overtime line.
think
Does
what might
that
help
answer
too
your-
is like vacation relief and that kind of floater person. It's not necessarily going to mean a third dispatcher on at one time. It's going to be them plugging in the holes where overtime would have been necessary. So it's their flat salary rate rather than an overtime for somebody to come in. So they're just that second body rather than overlapping and making the overtime.
But
kind
they
of
are fully
somewhere.
budgeted already.
Right, do we need less overtime is I guess the question, because they're covering for that.
That's what we hope,
Right.
right? So we hope that, but the turnover rate and the gaps have continued that way. It's a strange time. The same thing's happening on the police side. People are coming, they're going quicker than I've ever seen them before. The same thing happens in dispatch. It's an ebb and flow. We'll get down to 5 dispatchers sometimes and it's just critical.
So you're talking 11.
We have,
instead of 10.
we have 11 slots.
11 slots.
Those are budgeted. So in a perfect world, with our relief that the commissioner's talking about, that costs that much money. That can't go higher than that because they're budgeted at that rate.
So he
The
said,
other stuff will come into play, part-time wages. If that person doesn't fill a spot, then a part-timer gets put in there, which that will come out of that line, which we took into account, and I had to elevate that a little bit because we're over. We spent more on part-timers than we thought. And the dispatch, if you see, like I said, the reason why I printed out our current spreadsheet is to show you my rationale is quite simply, I look at the sheet and say, if we're over right now in FY 25, there's a strong likelihood we're going to be over this time next year in FY 26, FY 27. It only makes sense. And especially when your wages are going up. If we budgeted $60,000 overtime for FY 26 that we're in and we're over at the current pay rates, there's a pretty good chance we're going to be over in March of 27. So again, a lot of these, we got to make guesses, got to make predictions, but we'll look at the past trends and see where it is.
so are you saying 11 with counting the supervisor? Is that, okay, so it's not, it's the supervisor makes the 11.
Yeah, so the 10 is really the
So
floater.
the 10 is the floater.
There's 3 per shift, the 10 makes the relief. And then, but Cindy also serves as an additional layer of relief. Quite
We're
often.
not doing that now, though.
She does that
No,
often.
she is.
We don't have.
But we don't have, we don't have the,
We haven't had
we
that.
don't have the 10 for the floater
We
right
haven't
now.
had it in quite a while.
Okay.
We've stayed steady on the hiring and the processing and the training. We just can't get, like the police side, we can't get the full staffing.
So where are we at? 9? Like 8?
9 right
Eight,
now. No, I think we have the numbers, right? I think we have the numbers. They're just in
got the 10?
training right now. I think we have the numbers. Yeah.
I noticed that we have got 2 dispatchers at step B and step C with none at step A. Did we hire in the 2 new hires at like the second and third step?
No, so what I have to do is, this is for FY 27, so this is for the future. Anybody currently working right now will end in step B. They're going to step probably July 1st. And again, that's contractual. So
That was a year after they finish their training date. And so if we've just hired the 2 people.
it's not a year, no, it's a year from date of hire, or there's other caveats in their contract. I'm not exactly sure on dispatch. July 1, I believe, is the trigger, though. I think the city wanted to go to that quite a while back. It's just easier for them to bookkeep. What I try to do in the budget is I try to forecast what their top step is going to be. And honestly, I know depending on who you talk to, it's kind of peanuts in between those 2. So if I can budget at, so the senior, the least senior dispatcher who's working currently right now, I know will be step 2 or B at some point in FY 27. So I put the numbers at step B. Munis, I can't really break it down more than that. Unless we have like 50 lines in there, so.
So these are the steps that you're figuring are gonna take place during 27.
This is, the steps you're seeing is where they will be
In 27.
in 2027. At some point in 2027, they're gonna land on that step.
Commissioner, were you done? You weren't done with your questions, were you done?
I think I just got one more. The shift differential pay hasn't changed in the contract between last year and this year. And it's also not based on base salary. It's just a flat dollar amount per week for the shift differential. So I was wondering where that increase came from.
I don't know. Are we over on that right now? You have the spreadsheet there?
Differential?
What's our shift diff look like?
It looks like.
They didn't increase them because everybody did.
Hey, you're not in the red yet.
50, at 50%.
The
51.
shift diff right now?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know why that's so. We'll have to take a look at that one. My assumption was that they went up because I think everybody else did.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. 'Cause all the
Significantly.
other ones went up.
Significantly, yeah. Yep, that's one I could have put in a while back, so I'm not sure. That could be one that could be edited. I can assure you the mayor will find that. She's pretty good with it.
I guess I want to clarify one thing that maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, I can't remember. I'm old, so I'll use that excuse. But your salary line is the only thing that you can't spend zero at, bottom line at. You can't move that around in your budget. So at the end of the year, if you're over in your salaries, that gets returned to the city.
Yes,
You cannot bottom line spend that. You can't move it around and say paper, whatever, computers, printing paper, whatever, you know, if it's left in that salary, if it's left in that line, it goes back to the general fund.
Yeah.
So, you know, people need to keep that in mind that if it's a little bit high or those numbers come in a little bit under, that money goes back to the city at the end of the year. They take it back. You can't spend it. So I just want, that's just for general information for like the public and for other commissioners to realize that that.
problem with that, and I'm aware of this, is that whatever we ask for and get approved on is what sets the tax rate. So what I ask is, we have to hope people have faith in us that we're not just throwing willy-nilly numbers in here, right? I get nothing off of that. Like, I don't make more
I
money.
just want people to understand.
No, yeah, I
there's
just
so
adding
much
to what you're
money
saying.
left in overtime. It's
Absolutely.
Not going to.
Last year, we
It goes
returned
back.
money from both departments,
Right.
but what I'm saying is it wasn't a lack of attempt to properly forecast. Like, we're really trying to get this to the dollar. We've spent endless hours really trying to get right down to the dollar. What we can't predict is we may go a couple months without a position filled. So what does that do?
Overtime.
Well, no, it just puts surplus in at the end of the year is my point, right? So we have to, in order to do it responsibly, we have to put what we think is it's going to cost. I can't put together a budget that I know is gonna come through in the red. That's just irresponsible.
No. I get that. I just want people to understand that something may happen in that line item that has to be returned.
Absolutely.
And I will say for the 30 years that I was involved with the fire department and half of that maybe in management was that overtime, vehicle maintenance, all of that is grossly underfunded every single year because you can't,
And
we had crystal ball, we'd fund it to the cent.
They're nearly impossible to predict.
Exactly. So it's just it's a big, you always say, we had this much last year, this is what we need next year, and it always gets cut anyways. The minute you go to the table, that's the first thing that gets cut, and I know you're gonna say the same thing to everybody this year is we're gonna be short in that, so just understand that come this time next year, we're gonna be in the red.
Yeah.
In that, so it's kind of want people to kind of understand that no matter what, you can do your best, you can cut it even.
What
And you're
I
still
want,
gonna be
what I want the
close to it.
commission to be aware of, and that's why I brought those spreadsheets was, despite all that, right, despite those individual lines, I want you to be comfortable knowing that we do spend a significant amount of time staying within the amount of overall money we were allotted, right? So like I said, right now dispatch is sitting with 33% of their money left when we only have 25% of the year left. So, and that didn't come without its challenges. You'll hear the same comments when we get to the police budget, but it's been an absolute battle. There's things that we end up having to pay for constantly that you didn't see coming. When someone leaves, which oftentimes we don't know, that comes with a price tag.
I was just gonna say, knock
Sometimes
on wood,
significant price tag.
you could be.
We've
at the end
experienced,
of the year,
we've experienced it every year, and we're gonna do it again.
Right,
So-
you could be in tough shape, you're 33% left now, you could be under the percentage that you need to finish out the year a month from now because something catastrophic happens and people drop like flies and you have to replace or spend money to. That's
Big
not,
buyout.
Yeah, exactly, or a big buyout. Well,
I said
We're looking at two of them.
one more question about dispatch, which is the software that they use included in the equipment replacement or office supplies, or where does that?
So we're, Greenfield really, this is one place where I can say Greenfield's really starting to get things right. Most of that now is in IT's hands, right? So for example, our IMC software, which is Central Square software, is about 30,000, well, maybe a hair under 30,000 a year right now. Fernando handles it. So it's not something we have to worry about. What we're gonna see moving forward, if he can work it out, is he's also gonna incorporate all our copiers and fax machines and all that stuff. Right, which again, things like that make the picture clearer, in my opinion. So it's IT. We've been talking for quite a while with the head of central maintenance. And why do we have any building supplies line? Should be in his budget, right? And I think over time, that's the direction this will go. But what I can tell you is even with that happening, there still needs to be a little bit of pool of money for us to maintain our place, right? So there's things that we do inside that building. You got a tour today. There's things that we have to maintain inside the building that central maintenance just doesn't deal with. And then we need a little bit of money to do that. But the majority of building maintenance should go to central maintenance. Just the way I see it. And the majority of software and things of that nature should naturally sit with IT. And that's what's happening. The expense money I'm asking for dispatch is because they've never had that line, is it costs money to run dispatch. It does. They need paper, they need pens, they need ink, they need printers, they need things like that. And we need to be able to get mice, keyboards. Sometimes these things need to be replaced, and there's $0 for them. If they're getting replaced right now, they're coming straight out of the police department budget. But this agency serves more than just the police. So why is the police carrying that burden? So it should be spread out.
Anybody else? I have one comment to make after everybody's done.
I think it's important to just state publicly that Cindy and you guys do a really great job at finding grants to help train our dispatchers. We could have a big line item here and a big expense under training. And the effort that you guys, that she puts into it, finding courses, finding grants to send people, hosting them here, so we don't have to pay for it, including other towns, is, that's above and beyond, because there really could be a big line item under training, and our folks need to be trained. It's not like you're just walking into a job and you just sit there and train a couple of days. Now, you're talking life and death in some cases. These folks need to be trained. So you do a great job at making sure that budget it's really not even a line item. So.
Well, like I said, most of the training is taken care of. The grants still help. They do help. I call Cindy an anomaly a little bit because Cindy truly loves her job. Like, she really likes that job.
She does.
She
And
has
we benefit from
we
benefit from that.
We absolutely benefit from that. I've seen some who didn't have quite such a passion for that. And she is made for that. That's her thing, and she is the dispatch manager, and we're lucky to have her. She puts everything that she asks a lot of questions, but she also gets a lot done. She just gets it, and she's growing, she's learning. It's, you learn on the fly sometimes.
Anybody else? One comment that I'm gonna make on this is that I see that this is the same account number as this is the same account number. This is a separate department within the city of Greenfield. They have their own union, they have their own contract. At some point.
There's a 3 in there that you're missing, but yes, you're right.
There, yeah.
010221305.
305.
Yeah. It's pretty close.
Yeah. So what has to happen, in my opinion, is that this department should be its own budget. We have a manager that does a fantastic job. Not that I want to add any more work to Cindy, but Cindy should be here presenting her budget because she's a separate department and separated from the police and the fire, and they negotiate separate. They have their own union. It should be a separate department. And at some point, the city's going to have to step up and make it its own department. When it first started, they didn't really have the organization to do it. That's why it was always handed to the police chief, because it was in their building. So it was easier for the police chief to manage. But they're their own entity now. They're their own department within the city, so they need to separate it.
Step one to that is what I pushed for the last several years was to get the manager out of the union. So that was step one. We finally accomplished that last year. So that's the evolution of dispatch, right? So they were all in the same union. So one really couldn't be the department head over the others. So we managed to get the dispatch supervisor salaried and out of that union. So we're working the right direction towards that. I think it makes sense.
Now the city just needs to accept the fact that they need to make it its own department.
I couldn't, as the vice chair, I couldn't agree more with the chair. They really,
Take some stress off me. Wouldn't argue it.
something that the city has to look at, take a hard look at
Yeah.
and make the right decision.
It's built like that now. It's built to kind of do that.
So now it's time to take the small little leap that's left.
Yep.
Anybody else? I guess we're gonna vote on the recommendation to the mayor on the dispatch budget. I don't think we need to do a roll call. There isn't a lot of us. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? None, exception, none. Okay, so it's positive recommendation to the mayor for the dispatch budget. Now we'll move on to
What are you looking at? You read the lines. New
police department budget.
Do words on paper, not numbers.
You got more? We probably do those when you got those needs, just those. And you go, you get them out of there? Messing with me. Someone
What's that? No, I didn't get.
Someone playing with my emotion, kid?
Please,
This
no,
one?
No. Yeah, we'll take photos of
I
it.
don't know, maybe it is. Nope, it's not in the packet. I do not see.
It's this one.
Yeah,
This was
I hate it.
sent to us, but. I don't
Printed
think-
eight. Say that 17 more. What's that?
This is the most-
Did you,
This is what he had sent to us.
Take photos.
No, this is the most.
Did you run out of time? No, okay, I just thought maybe. you
Take a
ran out of
photo, pass
butter
it
or
down.
something. That's why we didn't get our coffee. No. It'd be a push for toner though, because you ran out. so you
We do,
couldn't-
look at, you see it? That's mine. I'm sacrificing. It's my office printer. That's another thing Fernando's gonna do though. We're talking about that is off different topic, but he's gonna consolidate that. Like we got printers in every office. He's gonna make main printers. It's good. It eliminates the need for 16 different types of toner cartridges and
Ones that are not.
it's another evolution that really needs to happen. Clean it up and make like public printers and have 4 in a whole building rather than 20.
I have this on my computer, but I'll do that.
Yeah, that's the one you forwarded to.
Yeah, this is
No,
the
it's-
one. I
No, it's a
forwarded.
different one.
It's-
It's different.
I
It's
literally just
updated.
printed,
It's not this
I
one.
amended it and printed it literally before I left today.
I apologize. I usually make enough copies for everybody, but I subbed my job out this time and it just so happens.
Yeah, I only printed, you know what probably happened is, my printer probably ran out of paper because we sent all that money to dispatch. And I thought it was done, but it only printed 3.
Just come use the fire department.
So police budget. Couple years back, we had ran with 34 total, 34 sworn officers. That was lowest seniority officer up to chief. When I was promoted, the first recommendation I made was to drop from 3 lieutenants to 2. And also add, in addition to that, becoming a probably patrol level, add another patrol level in exchange for providing the city with more business district coverage. We have not got there yet. We have never managed to hire our 35th. We got dangerously close over the last month and that dropped again. So this budget still accounts for that number of people, 35. It is still just 1 chief, a deputy chief, 2 lieutenants, 6 sergeants. So the command staff is not changing. I'm not asking for more management. I still think it's responsible of us to try to provide enough presence to keep Greenfield safe in many capacities. So we do want to get another business district officer alongside Zoe, who's currently down there. It serves a really great purpose. The business owners, for the most part, love seeing us there. Their scope is much greater than just the business district. It's community policing on steroids. They will take walks into the woods, along the rivers, check on the encampments. They will visit the library regularly. There's issues there. They meet head on a moment's notice, any particular incident that could take place on Main Street. We were lucky enough, after working with the sheriff, to get Sergeant Jake McClay down there. So we do have 2 walking. There's only 1 in Greenfield walking. Leaving the staffing the way it is, we're currently down 3, which leaves us with only 2 detectives. We would like to get our detective bureau back to 4. Historically, there's 4, and they spread the caseload out. Sadly, far more cases than we would hope for in Greenfield, but there are over 40,000 calls for service, as I said again. We have our share of the ugly cases, the sexual assaults, the burglaries, things we wish didn't happen but do, and people have to do some work on them, and our detectives do some really good work on it. They go to a lot of really specialized investigatory training classes, which are required. We work well with the state police investigators who come in and assist. Oftentimes we're up to the level of them, I would say, patting ourselves on the back. We have some pretty good investigators. So it's a time consuming thing. It's something where, again, on a moment's notice, middle of the night, they may get called in. So, and we need that. So this budget accounts for 35. Plain and simple, it's 35 people. Again, there were raises that I can't do anything about. So it increased that line rather significantly. So I'm not quite sure how Munis does its projections. I don't know how it's showing 14%, but I'm assuming it doesn't mathematically. If you look at the very end of Munis, the proposed increase is actually 12. If you look at the very last page, page 5, the increase from last year currently sits at 12. Do I assume we're going to end there? Nope. But this is me giving you what I believe is a responsibly created budget. And we can go over that piece by piece if you'd like. So most of this you'll see is similar. But this is why I brought the spreadsheet here. So for example, right now, for wages, permanent part-timers, we're $105,000 over budget, which means we've been using an awful lot of part-timers. The translation to that is we have been down upwards of 5-6 officers throughout this fiscal year. We have been skeleton crew level through this fiscal year. So, and not because of any other reason, and people chose to leave. And that's why there's this sort of weird number next to our full-time wages is 32.9. You'd think if we didn't have that many people, it'd be higher. Well, no, because the buybacks had to come out of that line. So we've had 6-figure buybacks that we've had to handle this year. We had senior lieutenant leave. We've had other senior, very senior 30-year employees retire ×2. Each one of those drafts with them a pretty significant payment out the door. And again, what I'm proud to say is if you look at the blue line on this spreadsheet, you'll see, despite that, and despite all the increases and all the extra expenses, we're still 5% to the good. Battling this battle, we're still 5% to the good, right? So, and that's taking everything into account. We're $105,000 over on temporary wages. We're, well, actually 113 because you've taken the part-time ones, right? FTOs, that seen a massive spike because traditionally most of our field training officers would take their compensation in comp time. So if you trained a new person, you'd get 4 hours of comp time. They're clearly now taking it in money, and contractually, that's what we have to. It was up to them. So we budgeted down. I budgeted down last year because nobody took it that way. And then all of a sudden this year they do. So one of those predictions you can't make. The choice is in the contract as to what they do. So I didn't ask for a whole heck of a lot because I figured it all be in comp time, and now we're at $10,000 over it. So egg on my face. But again, all salary and wages combined, we're still at 31.38%. So we're in the black in salary and wages. But I have to pay attention to those red lines, right, for the future budget. So we get down into expenses, you'll see quite a bit of red in expenses. So coming into FY26, as most know, not criticizing at all, but based on need, the mayor made pretty aggressive cuts in expense lines coming into this fiscal year. I mean, she took everybody to the bone. This is what you're seeing here, right? So repairs and maintenance police station, we had zero budgeted for that, but we had to spend $1,600. The biggest hit, and we've talked about this at just about every one of these meetings, is cruiser maintenance. So as you can see right now, that today is sitting at $26,665 over budget. That's not the true number because there are cars at shops right now. It's going to be more than that. So the prediction stands to where we're talking about close to 40 grand. We're going to be over on cruiser maintenance. I'll reflect back and say, look down to the bottom of that in the orange. That's leaving us with only 17% of our expenses left, and we got to get through 25% of the year. But look at the blue, it's 30. At the end of the year, they combine, right? So these numbers can mash, and we're at 30%. So we're going to do our best to continue to manage this so that we stay in the black overall, okay? That's our obligation. But that is in the wake of paying a lot of people buybacks that are not budgeted. You don't see in Munis anywhere buyback. It's just not a line item. That comes out of salaries. We're over in repairs, maintenance, computers. So we budgeted 10. We've spent 13.6. Some of that stuff, computers. So dispatch, you sat in dispatch. We did some massive upgrades in there. It's not unlikely that some of that $3,600 went there because we bought them various things. They needed new speakers. They needed a couple other odds and ends. We're spending money on both PD and dispatch in this budget. Range and ammo. I don't know why, but range and ammo was cut. So we had zero budgeted for range and ammo, and we have to qualify twice a year. So now we're $3,300 in debt there. Yeah, and Academy, we got to pay for theirs. So vehicle accessories. So over and above repairs, these vehicles have a lot of accessories in them. Right? So that budget line, as you can see in the spreadsheet, got cut with zero. But we need accessories in cars, so we had to keep the cars going. Tolls, we didn't account for anything in tolls. Dues and memberships. We have a ton of different memberships that we're in. Our special response team has membership dues, various police association dues. To pay these dues opens up the doors to all that training that we need to be at and go to. So a lot of that incorporates the training too. It's training and dues memberships. But yeah, so Power D, one of our software, is part of that. So that costs 11 grand a year in and of itself. So what I did do, so that the commission is aware, is we had increased costs, and again, just because we are trying to be reasonable and conservative, we think about these things every day. I got challenged by it, but I think it was the right move. We have a bunch of individuals that stand out on the road and wave their arms, making $80 an hour soon. I increased the amount of money that they need to pay us to do that job. And the reason for that is we're not going to foot the bill for these people to be on our software. That's their expense, right? They're making money off the city. So it went from $120 to $425. Yes. $425 because now they're gonna pay for another software program for us.
And DTS just.
Rather than the city, these people are paying, if they wanna work in Greenfield, make the detail money, they're gonna pay us for the software. So I effectively negated an increase of $11,000 that we were facing coming into this year. And that wasn't Flock, that's another software, and that was another $11,000, $12,000 savings by getting rid of that, so. Again, if you look at this and if you look at this, you're gonna see, we can go line by line. It's very likely that the increases in the police side budget right now are those items that currently had zero budgeted for them, but we spent money. I had to put stuff in there just to be reasonable. And the ones that we went over budget on, I had to put up. Because I'm assuming things aren't getting cheaper. One mistake made that the group should know about last year was the labels in Munis are a little misdirected, right? So one of them, for example, I don't even know which one it was. It might have been, it was cruiser maintenance, actually. So repairs, maintenance, cruisers, the substation lease had gotten embedded in. So the substation lease is plus or minus 12,000. So we had, in previous years, vehicle maintenance, I believe, was $25,000. We budgeted $25,000 for cruiser maintenance. The mayor cut that, again, cutting things to the bone, cut it down to $18,000. What she didn't see was that 12,000 of that now was for the substation, which left us effectively with $6,000 to fix our cars when we always needed 25, right? So that was a problem from the start. It was an honest mistake, an honest overlook. And it's really, I've been talking with the finance director to try to figure out, it's very locked down. Like I can't go in there and change labels. If I could, I'd have it much clearer in terms of what these things represent. Some of these things are just not even close to what we're talking about in Munis. So I know, and he knows when we put them in, but if you were to read them and not go into if you don't actually go in, you're not going to see that it's broken down. So, and that would take a bit of time because there's a lot of items in there, 60 something items. Any questions on the PD budget?
Sarah?
Sure. So I was looking at the detective stipends and you said that we've got 2 detectives right now, but this one has 5 detectives at 24 or 2.4K each.
Yep.
Even if we got fully staffed, the detective stipend starts at 2K and it doesn't staff until someone's been at 3 years. So I was wondering where that 2.4K came from for the 5 of them.
The stipends, I think, because they did an increase in their last.
Yeah, they went up to 2,500 for next year. Do you have next year's contract? You have the contract for next year? Because they went up significantly in their stipend, I think, $500 a piece.
So the contract that I found was online and it went through 2027 for.
Okay, so you're right. You got the right one.
This one didn't step with the year. The detective stipend was just 2.4K after 5 years, 2.2K after 3 years, and 2K when you become a detective.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And what we're doing, so the reason why there's a little additional in there is because we are adding a 5th. The sergeant in charge of the detective bureau also is on call. So where we're going from 4, we're adding 1. So there's a couple $1,000s more. The new detectives, yes. I think by the end of 27, Barone will now be at the top. Cooley will be at the top. So 2 of them will be at the top.
Corey would be at the top.
And Corey, so 3 of them will be at the top and 2 of them would probably be the 2,000, but we're adding another one too. And that's why it went up a little bit. There'll be another person on call. The math could be a little off on that. Some of that has changed like really recently. So we got $12,000 in incentive. Yeah, that could have been me actually just going like, it's 2,400 times 5. Worst case scenario. So.
Okay.
That might be able to be trimmed down like $800 or so.
For the K9 stipend, do we have 2 K9 officers? This is something I'm not aware of.
We do.
Okay.
Yep. It's Frank and Nico. So Nico's the shepherd that Officer Merrigan has. And then you have K-9 Frank.
You use that break.
Frankie has a
Just-
dual role, we do it all.
I have a friend.
You should get a double, you should get a double stipend for that.
The dog?
Yes.
Yeah? Are you all set?
I've got
Couple more questions, go ahead.
Looking at lieutenant pay, in the contract, it ranges from 104 to 110, depending on the step.
Mhm.
And not taking away from Lieutenant Ralph Nash, but she did just get promoted. And this 111 is at the top end, over the top end of those steps. And so I was wondering where that 111 came from. I'm assuming the projected, like, I was reading this as we've got
Two
two
at 111,
lieutenants at 111 each.
So they only have, they have what, 2 steps? It's 2. You start at 1, then you step twice, right? 3 tiers. So when did you get promoted to
Today?
provisional?
Oh.
It counts from the beginning of the provision,
November 17th.
November,
And the
so,
way Butinsky's was offset from the end of his
Right.
probation.
so he'll be topped, and so Butinsky will be top step July 1, so that's the top number. And she will be top step the following July 1, right?
27.
Yeah, so that could be, yeah, we could trim it.
Okay, and the same with the sergeants, the band goes from 91 to 97, and you've got 6 at 97, and I'm assuming the new sergeants also start at the lower steps.
Yep. All our sergeants are top step. Probably with the exception of Corey, right?
Well, he.
So,
Based on your
so there was a grievance, just so you're up to speed. There was a grievance on some of the language. They will all be, most of them already are. The most recently promoted, who was Brandon Lagoy, will be top step starting July 1. Corey Green will be the only wild card in that, but there's also some language that could put him to top step in that year.
Does it count all years of service, not just as sergeant, or?
No, it's sergeant, so in grade. So, but again, he'll go back to the point in which he was made provisional. And then what happens is there's no differentiation. This is some of the wording issues in the contract was there's some wording issues that doesn't differentiate between provisional and full-time or permanent. So erring to the side of caution, we've had to agree that it's from day 1 is provisional. That's where it triggers. Then there's some wording in the contract that makes it look like after your probationary period, depending on where in the year that falls, you get both steps, right? Which is what we just went through. So for all intents and purposes, it looks like these sergeants will all be top step in FY27.
So it's basically stepping is just very quick once you're in the position.
It's not a calendar year anymore.
Yeah, it's not.
It used to be calendar year for where you.
Well, they change in their now it's, you absolutely step to step 2 after 6 months probation. So you're, at minimum, they'll be at step 2. There's no question about that. 5 out of 6 will in fact be top step, right? We know that for a fact based on the most recent MOU that Corey Green will be the last one, the 6th. And based on that wording, like I'm saying, at some point, probably soon after July, he'll have stepped if he hadn't in July already. It is fast. It's definitely fast, but it was a CBA kind of language thing, yeah.
Down under career incentive. So my impression is that you get 25% salary for masters, 20% for bachelors, and 10% for associates. Yep. Which I was doing the math, and I don't think that those numbers line up with the amount that is projected in here versus the actual like salaries that we're paying, that percentage. I don't know where I put that number on my
Budgeted 394 this year.
Can you say what, Commissioner, can you say what your statement again?
Right, the number for career incentive.
Mhm.
I wish I had my calculation, but I didn't write it down on the sheet. I didn't quite understand how it could come from the like salary for next year. Based on these numbers, I think my calculation was that many more people have to have a master's. I would have to look at the calculation again though.
What were the percentages you said though?
25 for masters, 20 for bachelors, and 10 for associates.
So I know there are several individuals right now that I'm talking to that are pursuing degrees that hadn't had them. I'm talking one that's even got like 28 years on. So I have to take and forecast where that's going to be. Another example is one of our sergeants who was Justin 12 years on, maybe. He just wrapped up a bachelor, so they're going for them. So I'm communicating with these individuals and I have to take into account where they're going to be. So people are increasing. The number of college educated officers is increasing. We have people, senior officers pursuing it. So, quite honestly, I think it's a good thing. A good portion of those we've been hiring have degrees. So they're adding to the whole incentive.
So if this money isn't used, is it just stay in your budget? Is it that specific?
Anything we don't use goes back to the city at the end of the year, but it can't. I'll say it again and again. We are trying to put together responsible numbers so that that's not what sets your tax rate. We know that that's a thing. We don't want to do that. We're asking for what we believe is the bare minimum of what we need. There is some rationale that goes into it, aside from just the normal 2 + 2 is 4. We have to make some predictions in some cases.
I'm now realizing what happened is I did this late last night and I misplaced a comma and thought this was 3 million.
Oh, you had it in the millions? Oh,
Yeah,
all
now
right.
I'm
Still doing
apologize
better
for
than I
that.
would.
If
so.
you voted
You're
yesterday,
good.
you're our new best friend.
I guess what I'm asking is.
Well, the commissioner,
Oh,
he's
I'm
still,
sorry.
he's
You're
still, he's
asking.
still going.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So for the shift differential, it did step this year. So went from 80 to 90 for evenings and then 100 to 110 for the night shift. But that still, like at the most, that's a 12.5% increase. And so when I look at the 62% increase under shift differential, I'm curious where such a big increase came from for that.
Well, we budgeted 88.9 for this year, and we're actually doing pretty good with that. It did go up significantly. Like I said, there were some calculations to that. I think it's going up twice. So it went up this year, then it's gonna go up again to, I think, like $120. Thing, so it could be, that could be a high one, could certainly be a high one. It's definitely worst case scenario. So it depends on how many officers end up on night shift versus eve shift, which is, what I did is it's 33.3%. 33.3% was my math, right? So you have 33.3%, who I know are going to be on day shift. 33.3 are going to be on eves, and that's where the calculation comes. Sometimes more flock to days, and we don't have that many on eves, so they don't get that incentive or that diff. And that changes. So the way accounting's been doing it is literally by the shift, right? So again, it's a worst case scenario. Is that one that could be addressed and brought down? Probably.
The split shifts too.
The split, yeah,
With
we're doing split shifts.
Detectives split shifts, the sergeants, they split, so
So maybe more
Again, I don't know how
shifts.
that's, I don't know how this is 64.9 to 105, because if you look at this, this is why Munis is a little weird to me. It's not 62% increase. Right now, we were budgeted for just about $89,000 for shift this year. Our actual budget is 89, and I'm asking for 105. So it's not a 60%. I don't know what Munis is. I don't know what this 64 number is. It's not one I put in there. No clue what that is.
I guess I had 2 other questions. So you mentioned we have a fund that you use to pay for the unmarked cars when we refresh those. Is that the civil asset forfeiture fund or is that a different fund?
It's different. It's a law enforcement trust.
Law enforcement trust fund.
Yeah, and that's about gone. So we made that play with the cruisers that we needed to make. And that was sort of a deal. We said, well, that's gonna be it. Like, that's what we're gonna do. So having 14, 15-year-old unmarked, rotted out cars, we replaced them with those kind of 2021 through 2023-ish cars. and that took that.
Okay.
So, and you can't predict when and if you'll get anything back in that, so it's about tapped out.
Okay, and then is anything like civil asset forfeiture wise in this budget as far as covering these costs?
No, I can't predict any of that, so it's just not, Munis doesn't even put that in there. Like, there's not a spot for that, so.
And so if we get that money over the year, does that go to cover stuff in here and then we'll have more money in the budget at the end, or does that cover?
I don't know, it would, I don't think it'd be up to me, I don't know, it'd be up to the city to determine where that money goes. So the DEA's office would pay the city. I don't think that necessarily means has to go to the PD. We haven't gotten any. The amount of time I'm here, I don't know of any civil forfeiture money that we've gotten. I do know that we get the LET stuff from the DA's office. Like I said, when they seize cash from their operations, it gets divided amongst participating agencies and states. And that comes in sometimes, it could be $100, maybe here. There was a relatively profound arrest a couple years back, which added to the line in there significantly, but it's not something we can rely on. There's not much in it. Like I said, it served a great purpose. You know, we bought a lot of cars outside of Greenfield taxpayers' dime, and luckily they're not the ones that have been in the shop every single day, but they're actually running. But again, they're not run so harshly or heavily. They're assigned to generally an individual, and again, it's more easily accountable if you have a car. So,
Yes, one more question on the CJIS system. What I could tell, that's like the fingerprinting and background check system. Do we have a contract? Is that not what that is? Okay.
CJIS is actually the system that we run every single records request stuff through. Criminal Justice Information System is what that is. IDEMIA is the company that does the fingerprints.
Okay.
They then link to CODIS and but CJIS is what all our cruisers, all our dispatch. That's how we get when we run a plate. It comes back through that. When we want what's called a III interstate criminal interstate index, crime index. That's the criminal record check from across the country. That's all CJIS. We have to pay. That's the amount they said. We have to pay what they tell us.
Anybody else?
Question about your cruisers. You requested I can't remember how many, but X amount of cruisers, right? Because the other ones you keep maintaining, and you're over budget at this point. This budget that you presented to the mayor, she already cut all those lines?
I haven't presented to the mayor.
Oh, you have not? Okay.
We meet with her next week.
So,
There was a little bit of back and forth, and she was okay with us doing this in the timeline.
because I thought you said something about them. So. if you-
Yeah, no,
we
those
don't-
are capital requests, Maria, so.
I know that the cars were capital requests. So if you don't get your cruisers, don't you think you should increase the maintenance for the others?
So I'll give you my thoughts on how this should go, my opinion, not my money, but it's how it should go, is your police department needs 3 cars a year. And I may have said this before, but this is 100% the way this should go. Your police department needs 3 cars a year, like it needs employees and like it needs paper and like it needs fuel. You need 3 cars a year in order to maintain a reasonably well-maintained fleet. You need 3 a year, and that, and then like every 5th year, you'd want to do a capital request to get some unmarks. And so you could keep your marked fleet going if you did 3 a year. What that 3 a year does is it keeps you within warranty range. So your oldest car maintains a warranty. So the fixed stuff is on the manufacturer. We're so far out of warranty with most of our cars right now. That's why our cruiser maintenance budget is so high. If you did 3 a year, then you would maintain a non-negligent fleet, right? Because it's negligent to have cars that may not make it to the call. The additional aspect that has, in my opinion, then, it should be in our budget. It should be budgeted 3 cars a year. The problem where we're at right now, and for various reasons, over time, cruiser leases were taken out of our budget. So now, $360,000 maybe, because cruisers are now over 6 figures, is a massive spike, right? So if I put 3 cruisers in here, that 12% is no longer just 12%. And you want to talk about something jumping off the sheet at everybody who's going to approve this? So I had suggested that we should probably start inching them back into the budget. It's just my opinion. At some point in time, the police budget presented to you each year should include the 3 cars. And if they're already in there from the previous year, it's not a huge increase of $300,000. That, when that happens, it's gonna jump off the sheet at everybody. Like, what is this massive? Because what is everybody looking at when they're reviewing a budget? They're gonna look at that last number right there, and that's 12%. Right, so the schools are gonna say, what the police get, fire's gonna wonder what we're getting, we're gonna wonder what fire's getting, we're gonna wonder what the schools get. Everybody reviewing these is gonna say, well, the police got 6, fire got 8, this isn't fair. That's all they're looking at is that last thing. I appreciate the energy being put into it. We're breaking it down into lines, but at the end of the day, they're gonna look at, well, this is a 12% increase. If I put 3 cruisers in there, that's a massive increase, right? How do we get back to that? That's what we have to figure out. Do we put a half a car in this year? The second half next year? Now you got 1 in the budget, but it's not a huge spike. And then maybe keep putting a half a car in for the next 6 years, and then finally the cars are back in the budget. I don't know. I can say my hat's off to our chief of staff because she's fighting hard to try to get us a massive infusion, of cruisers. So through a government earmark. So it's slim to none, kind of like winning the lottery. But if we can get that, it'd be awesome. But even with that, this agency needs 3 car a year. You still need to do the 3 car a year thing. So it's now been perpetually removed from this budget. My opinion, it should be on it. We have to fight capital all the time to get 3 cars. There's no guarantee whether or not we're going to get that. So
Have a few. And just a comment on the cars. I think the city needs to look at a program for every department and go to a leasing company and really crack a big deal. Take the pressure off the individual departments, go to get a leasing company to buy in.
it's already done.
Everybody.
So that's the whole point. It doesn't, I'm just for your own edit, it doesn't help because there's already the state bid, right? You're gonna get what you get based on state bid. So they kind of do that. They're just, it's coming out of each department's money or out of capital. So like you said, when DPW goes and gets 5 trucks and we get 3, it's the same pot. It's the same pot of money, and then we're all getting the best deal. We know that. It's pre-vetted. We're getting the cheapest car or truck that we can get because it's on the contract. And those companies pay for that contract, to have that contract. So that's where that incentive is. So I just my personal, it just needs to be in the budget. It needs to be in there.
Few other things. Body cam stipends, you have it down as 0. So is that being paid through a grant now?
They're gone. That's a thing of the past, and we can't change titles. It's a thing of the past that expired a year ago, but we can't change the headings on it. I think only Steve.
So the body cam stipend is gone.
Gone.
Okay.
There's only a transitional stipend. Like we got them, they had to figure them out.
Okay.
There's a new. It helped us get them implemented.
Gotcha. You know, they're an important tool.
Very good.
The academy training is 24,000. What does it cost to send somebody to the academy if we have to?
So
I don't need, just rough.
here's another prediction. So as of last year, the state threatened to go up to, I think it was over
72.
Yeah, it was like close to 8,000.
Okay.
Right? That held to what it currently is right now, 32.
Okay.
But the likelihood is it's gonna go back to the 88,000.
Right.
So, but what we also have to do is we have to pay for physicals,
Yep.
which is in there, but also additionally is the psychological exams, which are close to $1,000.
Well, I just wanted to make sure, because it seemed a little low to me, that's all. I didn't think it was high. I felt. it was a
Academy
little low.
tuition, honestly, for what you get, 6 months of training, it's pretty reasonable.
No, I didn't, I mean it, the budget number. I feel like if we have to send it into academy, I just thought that might have
It's
been a little bit.
way more than that. So,
That's what I thought.
just to give, and where we need to kind of fluff that academy tuition is, when we hire a new officer, it costs us about $3,000 to gear them up.
Exactly.
I mean, nothing is cheap and we have to gear them up. So, we kind of look at that, and again, we can't change titles or expand titles in these lines. But that's a new person of $24,000, encompasses a heck of a lot more than just an academy tuition.
I know we joked about this, but there's no line for ammo.
None,
So are the offices buying their own ammo?
no. I think I added on the new one, right?
No, I don't see ammo on. Did I not see it anywhere? Is it on the back page?
There's range allowance.
Range, is it fall under range allowance?
No, that's no.
There's no
So
way-
here's the problem again between Munis and ours. We can't change the labels. It's in there somewhere,
Okay.
but it's not, it doesn't say that. That's not what the title is. So I can't, we've been arguing about this. for a while.
So there is an allowance in there for ammo.
It's probably
Yeah.
under prisoner meals for all we know.
Yeah. I mean, it's true, no, true.
Well, I just want to make sure there's a line for ammo because you are the police department and you need to have ammo. Do you foresee any major buybacks happening in 2027? That is gonna affect the
Highly
budget?
possible,
Highly possible.
really highly possible.
And what position is that gonna put us
The
in?
deputy chief.
What position do you think that will put us
Leave
in
you out.
overall for the budget?
I'm. The way we've been doing this, what I'm saying is I'm not sweating it. Because we've managed this through some really extensive buybacks. What we do is it's sort of worked into our favor that we haven't been able to get new hires on board, because what we do is we delay that. And by delaying that, we're putting their money aside to cover for that.
Okay.
So although we'd like to have the boots on the ground, we're also trying to be responsible to the budget. And we have to drag our feet sometimes and go short to try to pay ourselves back. So that's what we've managed to do so far. 2 years in a row, we've come in under. So I'm feeling like we're gonna do that again, despite having all the buybacks that we went through again this year. And the cruiser maintenance. I mean, we're that far over in cruiser maintenance, but we're still hitting this. We're still in the black right, these buybacks and cruiser maintenance, so.
I think my last question is the dues and memberships, are those individual or is that like a group thing for the departments?
It's all of it. There's,
All of it. So
It
do we
incorporates-
pay memberships for officers, for different memberships? We've
yeah,
done that?
if an officer is part of some sort of group, like, again, the special response team are part of a tactical association. Again, that opens up extreme training doors.
Sure.
And gives us discounts to many other things sometimes. So there's other ones that, like, for example, the chief is part of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, the Mass Chiefs of Police, the Western Mass Chiefs of Police, the Franklin County Chiefs of
So you're
Police.
taking up all the $20.
It's peanuts compared to the rest. No, what we embedded into that was some policy software stuff.
Is it, do they have to be approved? I mean, you can't just join.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're not just joining, it's mostly groups.
The membership's not necessarily, but any, like, I can't leave and go to any, like. He and I were going to go, the internet, we did, so last year it was in Boston, the ICP. It's an amazing conference to go to. It was in Boston, so we were right here. We went to it, got a bird's eye on what it is. The following year, which was the most recent event, was in Colorado. And we were gonna go to that, but considering the way money was, we said, that just can't be a priority. We're not gonna fly to Colorado and rub shoulders with other chiefs, and it's a worldwide. This IACP, it's more than just international association. There's people from many from other countries that blend and talk and hang out and share the training and things of that nature. So,
But I mean, having a long career in whatever my career is, those meetings are important because you meet people from around the world and from different states, and you see how they do it and you can learn, maybe they're doing something wrong, maybe you're doing something right. So not to say that, you know, we have to watch the budget, but meetings like that are in all our trades, they're important to go to.
There's, generally speaking, in my experience, something changes in the operation almost every time one of those trainings are visited. And for example, we have our co-response one coming up. Thankfully, that one's paid for entirely by the co-response grant, but we have a contingency of officers and co-responders that'll be in Texas for a few days. And I guarantee you they come back with some new ideas, because you're talking about rubbing shoulders with people across the country, all of whom this is relatively new to, right? So they share their experience. There's a lot of training. Sometimes it's a la carte and sign up, you go to it. But there's nothing that isn't beneficial, you know, and you do like, there were some pretty prestigious individuals that we ran into in Boston. And it's kind of amazing to get that many people together. And there was chiefs, or it looked like maybe from Africa. There was certainly from
Definitely
South
right.
America. They were everywhere, and they come in full regalia.
Mhm.
Here we are, like a polo, like we're a little underdressed right now.
Well, those are important things that should be attended. And talking about the trip they're going on, we asked for a presentation, so don't
You
forget.
let them know it's due when they come back.
Yes.
It's already been.
Fair enough.
No other questions.
Don't worry about it. I got you.
Anybody else? Okay, so just one. Couple. Yeah. Percentage of the overall budget to the town, the police department is 6%, 7% of the overall budget. Do you know? It's fairly low. I would say you're probably within single digits. Would be my guess. Usually that's where it falls. The overall citywide budget, that's just a point that I want people to realize that the police budget is just a small little piece out of the overall citywide budget. It's a very small piece of the pie. I know city council will have a little pie graph and it'll show where everybody falls in that. So, you know, my opinion is your increase is 286,000 and change in your budget from last year to this year, and a lot of that's going to be contractual increases. So like a 6% change, you got some stuff there that you're going to fall closely under in, and vehicle maintenance and everything else. And at the end of the day, that money has to come from someplace. So where does it come out of? Your bottom line of your budget at the end of the day. So something in your budget suffers so you can keep vehicles on the road. Something in your budget suffers so you can get your computers fixed in your cruiser. So I think it's a very little increase in your budget, and a lot of it's taken up through contractual agreements through the city. So I just want people to kind of understand that out there, that your budget's a very small piece of the pie that you're asking for, and I know from years of everything that every department in the city kind of like manages their budgets real well. I mean, the DPW, police, fire, everybody does a real good job of managing their budgets, and they aren't grossly inflated with, you know, I want to make sure that I get everything I want. It's basic needs, and the last couple of years have been really tough for all departments, especially you guys. I agree that you need cruisers. We need cruisers. I don't know whatever happened to the 3 cruisers a year. That was always a standard of, you know, I worked for 30 years with the city, and except for the last 15, you guys used to get 3 cruises a year then. And Greenfield's 22 square miles, so do the math. You're driving them 8 hours a shift, 22 square miles. You're putting miles on the vehicle, wear and tear, they need to be fixed, they need to be replaced. We need to make sure that we keep the citizens protected and that we have reliable vehicles to get there. But we're not calling Uber for a ride to get to someplace, so.
And this, keeping it in mind, this is what I would say is our rough draft. We're moving into budget season, so we'll meet here next week. I'm sure it's not gonna be a good budget season for anybody. We're always willing, in fact, in my history being here, we're always willing to step up to the plate and work with the city. Generally, we're the first to step up and work with the city and say, do what you gotta do. So I have no doubt we won't cross the finish line with a 12% increase. So again, the thoughts behind what you were presented was these are trying to take a responsible approach to offsetting areas that were and then taking into account effectively like 6% pay change. So officers step and they get COLAs. So that's why for those listening, it's out of anybody in this room's control sometimes when an officer goes up as much as 6%, because if you're not already at top step, on July 1, you go up a step. So if you're step 4 going to step 5, those percentages are generally quite close to 3%. But then contractually, you get a COLA, the cost of living of 3. So now you're going up 6%. And there's nothing we can do now about that. Right? So that's going to happen. That's why those numbers are what they are. We appreciate your time. So we will continue to make a concerted effort to make this responsible and commonsensical.
I think this conversation that we're having, it's never happened before. And it's very informational to the public, and we're able to see how we can support you. I mean, right now, we're giving you
Just cut me a check.
Huh?
Just cut me a check.
But anyways, would you stop? I can't be serious with you. Gosh darn it all.
Mom.
Anyways, I really appreciate, I know I used to be the chair of the Ways and Means at one point for a short time, and found out how much work all the heads of departments have to do. And it breaks, our heart to say, no, you can't have that, knowing that you can, that you need it. So
Seeing what we're seeing, we get it. Yeah. Health insurance isn't helping anybody.
I'm gonna save you some, I'm going on Medicare, so I'm doing supplemental. We'll see a little bit out of that, so.
you still.
Okay, so I guess if anybody doesn't have any other questions, I think we'll move forward for a recommendation. And so I need a motion.
So moved. Oh, you want the whole motion?
Yes.
I move that we recommend this funding.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of a positive recommendation to the mayor? Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed.
Abstentions? Okay.
Okay, you said that the updated one that you couldn't bring for whatever reason.
I'll send
Because
over,
I have-
I'll send over the most updated.
I was gonna say, could you,
Tomorrow I'll send everybody new, fresh
I
stuff.
would be interested in seeing.
But
what-
again, keep in mind, things are mislabeled. If any of you have questions, you can come in. I'll open up the Municipal into the finer details and you'll see what it is. We can break it down into.
That's the easier way to do it,
It is, yeah.
because
It's not very friendly.
I know I know what you mean by change, that you can't.
Please
change
come
the
in,
labels
we'll
and-
log in, I'll show you what I'm looking at and what we're talking about. There's some things buried in there. You're gonna look at the number and go, that seems like a lot. Well, it's probably taking 2 or 3 things into account.
Right. Since they changed the munis, it confused a lot of people, because they're looking for certain line
Yeah.
items that don't show up.
And it stresses, like you said, we can't say it more. How many times, like, can we change the label? Okay, we can't change the labels.
Okay, so we're gonna be setting up the next meeting, which is gonna be 3/25 at 6 PM here. We're gonna be doing, just so everybody knows out there what we're gonna be doing, it'll be on the agenda, but we're gonna approve, we have the public comment, January, February meeting minutes. We're gonna approve those on 3/25, and the fire department budget. That's gonna be our agenda for next month.
So we don't need to be.
You don't need to be here. I already sent you an email.
I know, I got it. I just wanted to make sure the public.
Yes, so
We don't have to
dispatch, dispatch and BHA, oh my God. AMR.
Oh, boy.
We don't
Wow.
need to be, we're not.
At least
having a
I, well, at least I
regular
didn't call them.
Mercy?
Mercy, at least I didn't say Mercy, I would have really dated myself. That's gonna be our meeting next Tuesday, so well, that's all we're gonna be doing is fire department budgets, just so everyone knows. I'll entertain a motion. to-
Clarify, you
Nope,
said
nope.
Tuesday.
No, I-
Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
Wednesday the 25th, I did it again, didn't
Yes,
I?
you
Wednesday.
did.
Wednesday the 25th, I had the date right, but the wrong day wrong, okay?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in
Okay,
favor, aye. Let me shut the recording off, folks.
yeah, I did that again, why do I
Yes,
keep
you
on
did.
saying
I
the
don't know.
25th is Tuesday, I don't know,
Stop confusing me, 'cause
next year.